In today's video, we're going to work on joint locks, otherwise known as chin gnaw. So there are a number of principles, actually 4 principles, that I never see taught with chin gnaw, and they're really essential to understand how to do a good joint lock. We're going to start with the basic joint lock of the wrist. So from here, if I've got just Mr. Ford's wrist, we're going to take that, okay? And one of the things, actually, I haven't introduced Mr. Ford here. This is Mr. Ford. So let's get back to it here. So now notice when I did this joint lock that he's already jumping ahead of me, right? But because the first one, it went to where it caused a reaction. Okay, now the first principle that we're going to talk about here is feeling, and that's when you have the feeling right and you understand it, then you'll get that reaction. So to talk about how to do that, what you want to do here is you have to have a willing partner here so you can kind of feel what their joints are doing here. And a lot of times when I'm doing this, you'll see me bridge with these lower fingers down here. What I'm actually doing, that's not actually part of the joint lock. When I do that, I'm actually protecting his wrist so I can talk here and not actually hurt him. To make the joint lock actually proper, I'll release those, okay? And so that's just a tool I use here because he gets a little scared sometimes. So what we want to do here is, this is 2 parts. So when you turn the wrist, you're turning it here at, you can see, about a 45-degree angle here. And what you're looking for is that when you get to that 45-degree angle here, you'll feel these metacarpals, I think. You'll feel those kind of bind together. Once you get to that 45, you then go down, okay? So this is 2 parts. This is 1 and 2. And that takes a little bit of feeling, and you just kind of have to work with your partner here, and you feel like, how's that feel? What's that feel like? And when you get it right, you're like, okay, those are locked, and then down. Now, the thing about joint locks is, yeah, you can do like, okay, I can do the same joint lock, right? From here. This is a little harder, but same joint lock. I don't really like that too much. People do that with like little pinkies, and there's sometimes uses for grabbing these little bones in here. But you got to be careful with it because, you know, if that breaks, you actually don't have anything. So for example, you know, if somebody was like reaching out their hand, if you're reaching out, boom, then I might use a little one for that, okay? So there's a purpose of it, and we'll teach how to do that one because it's not what you think. It's not just bending the finger back. That won't work. We're actually getting this in a certain way. So I'll do another video on that if you want. Put it in the comments if you want that video. So, so there's uses for those small fingers there, but not very often. What I usually want to do is get the wrist, and then from there, I can work out that. Notice also, I've locked the joint here and locked the joint here, and then we're pinning to his feet as well, okay? We're going to cover that in the end of the video because that's the 4th principle that we want to be important with here, okay? So first off, first principle here is getting this turn and then down, okay? And you'll know when you got it when they have that little reaction there. They kind of jump, okay? Otherwise, you're just brute forcing it, okay? If you're having to put a lot of force on here, like that's not right there, okay? That's not giving you the same reaction, right? Okay? But if I can do it properly in the right place, then he reacts to it there. It's kind of a primal reaction where you're like, oh, you know something's going wrong there, so you jump away, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a reaction you want for. So again, what we're gonna do here is 45 here, and you gotta kind of find it, and they have to relieve their wrist loose for you to learn this. Later on, you'll do it with a wrist tight, that's fine. As a matter of fact, one thing you want to add to joint locks, if you do want to get a joint lock and say he's tightening up there, tightening, then boom, you got it, right? You distract him. You just give him a little distraction. And you forgot all about that, about being tight, huh?
Yes.
Okay, so that's, again, another just little tip, you know. So kicking him in the groin is, that is always going to be a good one that's the perfect distraction, okay? They forget about this, boom, you got it. Okay, so that's principle number 1. Learn how to do that feeling there, okay? All right. Principle number 2 this is actually kind of two principles here, and kind of into one. So principle number two here is we want to keep this in our center. Now, I think I've got another video on here. If not, we'll do one talking about our center, this area where we're strong in here. So I don't want to be out here doing this, right? This is not even that's still in my center, but it's not, it's in a weaker area of my center. My body just, having trained this for a long time, it just always wants to go to center. But you want to keep in this area here of your body, okay? So not like, I just can't do it without wanting to put in center. But anyway, you get the point, right? Keep it in center. Now, here's the other thing here. For some reason, most people, when they see this, they think that I'm pushing back here. This is not correct, okay? This is incorrect. What I'm actually doing here is I'm trying to bring his elbow towards me, okay? In a sense, okay? But it's not this. I'm not pushing at his elbow here. What I'm doing is I'm bringing his elbow down towards me, okay? I'm giving that reaction. Now notice when he does that, that's what brings this over the shoulder, and that locks the shoulder. Because I do want to go over his shoulder, but I generally, unless I've got a lot of emotion, so say he was coming in with a right punch and I somehow hook this and he's in motion, then from there, boom, I can take that over the shoulder, right? So if he's in motion, you can get it over the shoulder, but if he's not in motion here, just like so, you don't want to do this. What you want to do is bring that shoulder down to you, okay? So now at this point, we can grab in different ways and do whatever we want, okay? So again, so here's the principle, and kind of two principles, but we got center here. I'm not pushing away. I'm bringing him into my center, okay? I automatically just want to grab and do something else, but whatever, okay? Now, so that's principle number two. So number one, what was number one? Feeling. Number two, center, and bringing him into your center, okay? Another, just one more explanation of bringing him into your center. In my mind, I think about, like, I want to use this as a lever to point his elbow towards me, okay? I want to bring this here, okay? So I'm not around his elbow. I'm bringing this towards me, okay? All right, now, principle number three, okay, is I generally want to adjust my body. So to keep it in my center, this kind of goes with the center here, to make this easier, and I'm bringing it towards me, but I want to adjust my body here to where now I've put his center line in my center. So now I did not have to use any force on this at all. I simply, as I take this over, I simply step to where it easily goes into my center. Then I'm using zero arm strength, whatever. I'm just using a step, okay? Very simple. So that's our distance line principle, okay? And also aligning your opponent's center line through the body, different than center, to your center. So as I take this, I'm just simply going to adjust in, and now I've got other stuff available to me right here, okay? So, and what I just did right there is we use chin-na, joint locks, in a much different way than I've seen anywhere else. If you'd like a video on what to do with it, I can do that too. Just put it in the comments and we're happy to build that video for you. So, feeling, okay, center, and adjust your footwork to your opponent. So you can always adjust, no matter what you're doing, adjust to your opponent. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3. Okay, I said 4 principles, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so fourth principle is I need to point the joints where I want him to go. Okay, so notice that every time I've done this here, that he has positioned in, move that right foot. Can you move that right foot? Not terribly well, right? Okay. And how's your left foot doing over there?
It's finding ground.
You're kind of doing a great limbo there. I'm liking that. Okay. Okay. So what's happened, yeah, you're in a struggle position, right? So what's happened is I've pinned him all the way to the ground. here. Now, how do you do that? Okay, when I'm doing this, this is what I call the direction of the joint lock. Okay, I'm going to take the direction of the joint lock where I want him to go. Okay, so in this, so if I wanted to, flip him over backwards, okay, notice you had a tendency to flip over backwards. And if that had been in motion, boom, you'd have gone pretty easy, right?
Yes.
Well, so how I'm doing that is I'm pointing that here, which is around the circle here, okay? So what I'm doing is this angle that I'm taking my pointing, I'm pointing over there. Basically what I'm doing is creating a circle where I want his head to go, and if his head goes there, then his feet have got to go there, and that would flip him, right? Okay, but now if I point this, if you imagine a line through here, I'm going to take that line, point it at his foot. Now that doesn't flip him, that pins him, okay? All right, so where do I want him to go, right? If I'm here and I want him to come to me, notice that I didn't go reach out for him. I made, I'm kind of lazy. I want you to step over there. Why don't you step over there for me? And I've got what I want, okay? Pretty, okay, understand?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're like a little marionette, huh?
Yes.
Isn't it awesome? Okay, so we've covered the principles, right? Okay, cover this last one more time. Again, imagine the line that you're pointing through your fingers here, okay? That where does that line point to on the ground, right? If I want to pin him, then I'm going to point it towards that foot, okay? If I want him to go over here, I'm going to go there, and he makes this step to adjust. See, the line's going there, okay? If I wanted to flip him, then boom, I'm going over there, okay? Okay, feel the differences between all of them?
Yes.
The tendency there. Okay, so again, to reiterate, what do we got?
Feeling.
Feeling, right?
Pointer.
That was number 4, but good. We didn't have to be in order, okay? Pointing is number 4.
Direction? Or center line?
Center. And so that's 1, 2, and then 3.
Position? Taking position?
Oh, yeah, adjusting to your opponent, right? Right. Feeling, right? Center, okay? Adjusting, and pointing, okay? Got it?
Got it.
Awesome. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ford. And thank you all for watching. Make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, put in the comments if you want us to expand on this, show some applications. Okay.